Hello, and welcome back to the very best podcast. I'm Jesus, and I am thrilled to have you here today. Honestly, this is our second last episode, and if you are been following along, you know that we've covered pretty powerful topics, actually. Pretty powerful topics on the past episodes. We talked about awareness. We talked about understanding our true self, because knowing who you are at the core is the foundation of everything. We explore purpose, discovering what truly motivates you, because when you know what drives you, you can align your interactions with your deepest intention, and that's what purpose is all about. We also dived into building healthy relationships with yourselves as the relationship with others shapes our lives. We talked about finding balance, particularly on the way that we use media and consume media and use social media. That is the key discussions that we had. And again, we live in a digital world, so managing the way they process the information we receive, it really marks our identity. It's very important to be aware of that. We also talked about mindfulness and breath awareness, where we learned the importance about staying present and really connect with our inner selves to live life at peace. And let's not forget what we learned about how to deal with negativity, and we discussed some strategies on how you can cultivate a better thinking process. And finally, we talked about awakening your creative genius and learning how you can stand out in any field just by thinking differently, because creativity is a visual part of expressing who we truly are, and we must tap into that inner child that lives within us. And all these topics, awareness, purpose, relationships, mindfulness, healthy thinking, and creativity, lead us to one essential goal, which is becoming the best and the most authentic version of ourselves. Authenticity is about living in alignment with who you truly are, embracing your strength and acknowledging your weaknesses. It's about showing up as the real you every single day. And today we're going to see how everything is pulled together. We're going to dive in on what it means to be authentic and what is important and what is so good for you. Because being yourself is one of the most powerful things that you can do. I'm going to share some tips on how you can bring authenticity into your life. So get comfortable and let's get started in this journey on how we can become the best authentic version of ourselves. Authenticity means embracing who you are, your values, and whatever that drive us. It involves in understanding your strength as well as your weaknesses. And it is about being honest with ourselves and others, and aligning our actions with our values. In this episode, we're going to explore 8 steps on how you can practice authenticity in your everyday life. And one of the first things to do when you really want to meet your authentic self and live from it is exploring your strengths. Honestly, this is the very first step by practicing authenticity, is really exploring what are you good at, what you enjoy doing. It's about understanding what makes you unique. And that's actually essential for discovering who you truly are. And it is that spark that only you have. Because it is actually tempting to live by others' standards or imposed by all the people tell you to do. But true authenticity really requires searching within and defining your own reality. Because as we grow, the first thing that we encounter is our ego. And it starts in a very early age, and it is when you start by becoming aware of who you are. That's why it's so important to familiar yourself with that side of you. And the ego has many names, but it lives within you and it holds power. Think of it as a part of your identity. It is a part that shapes the way that you view yourself and the way that you view the world. And we all have this side. And while it can be challenging, it also have a lot of opportunities to grow. Balancing your ego with your true self is key to living an authentic way. And it's sometimes difficult to really distinguish whether you're evolving organically or maybe you are start to being influenced by internal or external interests. That's why it's important to know in your authentic self, your true being. That is the key. You are complete as a masterpiece. We all are complete as a masterpiece. And with the blend of the good and the bad. And mastering your life and embracing authenticity is a profound journey, but it is the key of getting to know yourself. Unfortunately, there's many factors that really affect our personality and who we are. Some of them are external, it comes from external influences, and another ones are internals, and they are embedded on us. And it is our job to really stand out and communicate ourselves authentically. When you are authentic, you are respected, but not just for others, but also for yourself, because you operate from a place of integrity, of goodness. People who know themselves don't really seek to harm others. Instead, they carry in strong intentions and a purpose driven for life, so they're never going to get into argue with you if you know who you are. And this is why they can perform and achieve greater things in life, because they're authentic, because they know who they are. And they carry yourselves with forces, they're fierce to be reckoned with, to be honest. Another tip to become more authentic is speaking honestly. Honesty is crucial in practicing authenticity. And it means expressing yourself without fear, without judgment, being able to express any feedback without worrying about hurting anyone else, because it comes from an honest place. It comes from the truth, because you know who you are. And the same as being honest with oneself, because it leads you to be more honest and respect yourself in a way. So it's easy to give your feedback to yourself. And living authentically, listen, is an ongoing process. You just really gotta trust into this one and make sure, again, you're getting to know yourself. You take your time, because when you're honest with yourself, you're not only speaking with the truth, you are the truth. And again, this is a journey that is extremely rewarding, but at the same time, it's extremely demanding, because it takes a lot of work, but it does allow you to really recognize what you are about. We talk about our values. We talk about how you can navigate adversity in life and how you can deal with external pressures. And remember, living with an authentic self is a continuous challenge. You're always going to be battle, not for all the adversity that we spoke, but as well challenge with your own self. And as a key tip here is trust yourself and believe that every decision that you're doing are bringing you to wherever you want to go. And they're the right ones. Because along the path, there will be, again, high and lows, but nothing really happens by coincidence, particularly when you start to live in an authentic way. That's why it's important to embrace the truth, to trust that whatever comes your way are leading you wherever you need to go. The next one is about aligning your decisions with your values. Again, values, however, that we're touching out. And it's so important because when we're making decisions, it is important to consider the impact that it has in yourself and in others. That's why it's so important to align your choices with your inner values. Because in authentic behavior, often really tend to bring a desire of recognition to feed your ego and ultimately leads just to emptiness, trust me. That's why if you prioritize your authentic self, you can start to respect others. And that leads to more meaningful relationships. That's why it's so important to really recognize authentic people and listen and again, watch them how they operate. Because if you operate with an agenda, trust me, that will come back for you. And some people go to many extremes that they even became to manipulate others just to achieve, being on top. And again, the all is done, from a place of ego for a need of validation, which that only leads to insatisfaction. And most importantly, to really disconnect with your true self and others around you. And listen, I speak for personal experience into this because I did change recognition for the sake of it. And that I can tell you by experience that leads you nowhere. Always I said on my classes, you might be able to lie to others and they will believe you, but you are not able to lie to yourself. Never. You know it. But trust me, once you embrace your own truth, honestly, you have a bright pathway. The next one is about acknowledging both external and internal influence. Because again, remember, we are very influenced by our circumstances, no matter what it is. If it's your social circles, your family expectations, there's some cultural pressures that sometimes is so important to know how this affects you on the inside and on the outside. So that's why it's so important to ask yourself what you truly want when you make your decisions. Because when you drive yourself by authentically, that builds self-confidence and you are able to really embrace who you are when you make these decisions. And again, it does develop a strength of self-awareness. We talk about this. By understanding your motivations, your goals, that's when you really become a leader. And that's when you really build emotional intelligence because you know what you're about. You can make decisions with strength. When you're true to yourself without fear, your confidence grow, and same as your capacity to take any rubbish. It's about speaking from your core, and it is about finding that space and that voice that nobody can touch. And again, uncertainty comes along, but it is okay to have no answers. You got to be as well honest with yourself and others, and agree that power takes time, and sometimes we don't know how to do things, and the best way you can do is just embrace uncertainty. I think it's part of the journey, and trust that all the answers will come. The next tip to increase, to be more aware and to bring a bit your authentic self out is noticing your emotions. Our emotions are a crucial role when it comes to practicing authenticity because they reveal of true feelings about specific circumstances, situations, or decisions. That's why it's so important to pay attention to your emotions because leading to a clearer vision of yourself. That's why embracing your authentic self really allows you to express yourself with conviction once you understand your emotions. And this is something that true leaders really bring to the table because they know who you are and they act with confidence because they know their emotions. They know how to handle them. And this really comes back to the very early on the podcast. Remember, you got to be your own best friend. That's why you have to speak to yourself the same way that you will speak with your best friend, in a kind way, in a good way. And only by understanding your feelings, you can really tune into this. The next tip about unlocking your authentic self is about being respectful with yourself and with others. Respecting others is equally as important, and it really goes back, to understand who you are and what are your limits. Therefore, you can understand other people's limits. On difficult situations, when you're dealing with something like that, you must maintain calm. You must be confident, and always remember, authenticity attracts others. People get inspired when you show who you are, and that's why it's so important to respect others. It's all about valuing yourself and about understanding that the external opinions doesn't really define you. We all heard discouraging remarks from others. Oh, you're not good at this. Oh, I wish you could do better. Oh, that doesn't suit you. But remember, all those are just people's opinions. The only opinion that matters here is your own. So with all your respect, don't really take them. Okay? This is not for you. This is the other person talking about it. Because when it comes to others, you have to answer them and respond them with kindness, with respect. And that's exactly the same that you will receive for yourself. Remember, maintaining composure that's a sense of confidence that demonstrates a strength, that demonstrates your character, and that is authentic. Another way that you can tap into the authentic version of yourself is how you can deal with the bad stuff. Because one of the best steps to practice authenticity is when you face these challenges head on. And again, you embrace the trouble and the challenge by accepting it, because fears are rising all over the place, honestly. But that's what really allows you to grow. And one of the things that Einstein said is the most beautiful experience you can ever have is the mysterious. Like, how wonderful is this? And taking actions toward authenticity always means that you must get out of your comfort zone. And again, whether it is dealing with something that you are unfamiliar with, or maybe you are embracing an uncertain time, and honestly, all this experience that seems terrifying, they're always showing you a lesson. They're teaching you something. And again, first comes when from the need of control everything. But when you let go, when we allow ourselves to experience the unknown, we grow. And it's okay to be prepared for challenges. Honestly, I think it's very good, but it's also essential to be open to the lessons that, again, the life has for us. I call it make the magic happen. That's when I tend to call let the magic happen. Let the universe show you, whatever it is ready for you. And the last tip that will help you to really become more authentic is building a strong support system. This is essential, honestly, because when you surround yourself with people who share similar values, it can provide guidance during difficult times, for example, because again, authenticity inspires confidence, and by embracing your true self, you can inspire others by doing exactly the same thing. And again, having a solid support system around you, it is important because it does reinforce, your values, but at the same time provides perspective and sometimes give you support, again, during any challenging time. And again, it's all up when you connect with people to resonate with their authentic self, you create a network of trust, of encouragement. One thing as well, authenticity is a magnet, honestly, for people, because when you live in your truth, you feel secure, and then you inspire others to do exactly the same thing. As you grow, you impact the people around you, again, because you're authentic, and that encourages others as well to do the same thing. And as I said, building a support system is so important, and there is no better way that you can connect with another like-minded through a community places, or a place that you can grow and connect with other community. And that is exactly bringing me to my best friends from the Service Exchange. As you know, guys, I'm a member of the Service Exchange, and they have been extremely helpful. Helped me to set up the podcast, and listen, I hold all my events in there. And it's a wonderful place to really build a community, to get to know each other, in a very relaxed way that it is comfortable, that you can express yourself with confidence and again, share your skills with other people that do exactly the thing that you do. And guys, remember, I have a 10% of discount on anything of your bookings using my code VERYBEST. Wrapping up, guys, practicing authenticity takes time, but it can be incredibly rewarding once you get to know yourself, especially done through small, consistent steps and being aware, but following the tips that I gave you today. Authentic living leads to a path of self-discovery when you can uncover so many wonderful things about yourself. And it is great for both personal, professional, spiritual. It's great for everything on your development, your personal development, your professional development, your spiritual development, no matter what it is. The authentic path is the right path. That's why it's so important to master this essence and let everything that we learn form into the very best version of yourself is the most authentic one. Remember that. You must become your own ally, again, by understanding your strength and embracing your weaknesses, and be proud of who you are, with your flaws, with the wins. Doesn't really matter. Authenticity is about embracing yourself entirely, with the good, the bad, and recognizing that you are a complete masterpiece. As you navigate this journey, keep in your mind that being authentic isn't just about you. It's about the impact that you have in others. Because when you live authentically, you inspire others around you to do exactly the same thing that you're doing. That's why authenticity is contagious. It's the good stuff. Because it fosters respect, trust, admiration. People gravitate toward those that are genuine because, again, they are authentic. And they are rare. This is a rare trait on a world full of fakes. And as we discussed, there are many factors that can influence who you are, both external and internal influences. And it is your responsibility to really discern of all this influence around you and choose to live authentically despite any of that. It's not easy, but it's worth it. By committing to live your life authentically, you choose a life path that is on your own. Is your own, with your passions, and again, setting up good intentions and leading by purpose. And as I'm wrapping up for today, guys, I want to leave you with a thought that we discussed before. Remember, authenticity is not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's something that you practice every day. It's done by every decision that you make and every interaction that you have. It's about being true to yourself no matter what. It's about showing up as the real you. Even if if something makes you uncomfortable, don't worry. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing more liberating, there is nothing more empowering than living your life the way that you meant to live it. The way that you are. And that's all for today, guys. I hope you find this episode valuable, and I'm looking forward to hearing all your thoughts, guys. I'm really, really loving your comments, and honestly, please get in touch. My DMs are open, or feel free to reach out on my website. Make sure you check out all the events that I have going on. Remember, you are a masterpiece, and your authenticity is your superpower. Stay true to yourself. If you are in London, come and join me. And if you are around the world, join my Patreon, where I host exactly the same events with my online community every 2 weeks. And it's so much fun. So come and join me. Bye for now. I'll see you on the next one.